What's up, you guys? So I want to share with you today a conversation that has been going on online recently about Timbaland, a resurfaced clip of Timbaland revealing that he was in love with a teenaged Aaliyah. Now, a lot of you guys know that I was a big fan of Aaliyah, and I still consider myself a big fan of Aaliyah, and my actual logo is Aaliyah. My logo is not actually me, it's Aaliyah. It's a picture of Aaliyah, like an edit of Aaliyah, because I still consider myself a fan of hers. So I found this story very interesting. So let's get into Timbaland confessing that he was in love with Aaliyah, a teenaged Aaliyah.
First met Aaliyah. It's time for the world to hear this. I want to give up a little secret. I was in love with her. I said, but I'm not. She's just a baby. I'm old. I said to myself, I'm just going to be her brother. Oh, man, I was fighting a big war. But I love Aaliyah. First met Aaliyah. It's time for the world to hear this. I want to give up a little secret. I was in love with her. I said, but I'm not. She's just a baby. I'm old. I said to myself, I'm just going to be her brother. Oh, man, I was fighting a big war. But I love Aaliyah.
So this is from the 2011 True Hollywood Story of Timbaland, and he says in the beginning of the clip, he says it's time for the world to know this. So obviously he doesn't think there's anything wrong with it, and he's saying it's time for the world to know that he was in love with Aaliyah, but he decided to play her big brother because of her age. There was either a 7 or 8 year age difference depending on when he met her, but there's a 7 or 8 year age difference between the two of them. So social media is going wild over this revelation. This clip resurfaced recently and social media is going wild. So let's get into some of the social media reactions. But before we do, leave a comment and let me know your initial reaction to that clip of him saying that he was in love with Aaliyah. Timbaland and Missy's first #1 hit was a song that him and Missy Elliott produced for Aaliyah, If Your Girl Only Knew. And I always wondered if Timbaland had feelings for Aaliyah, but even more so, I wondered about Genuine. But that's a story for another day, you guys. Social media is going wild over this revelation. This person posted, I think everybody was in love with Aaliyah, but you gotta think before you speak. They about to call you a perv. Capital P-E-R-V, Timbaland. Somebody else said, Timbaland is weird for saying he knew Aaliyah was underage and he couldn't like her in that way, so he wanted to try to be a big brother. What? Sounds like clownery to me. Now, I just want to say the thing about age, you know, I did a video recently on Brandy and Wanye, and Wanye was he actually acted on his feelings for Brandy. When she was still a teenager, in the state that they were in, she was not considered underage. Some states, the age limit is 16, 17, and others 18. So when you say underage doesn't necessarily mean under 18, depending on what state you're in. Somebody else said Timbaland marrying his wife because he was in love with Aaliyah and she reminding him of her is super disgusting. RVA Reed tweeted, me, R. Kelly was 27 and dating a 15-year-old Aaliyah. Dating. You cannot date someone who's underage. You can violate someone that's underage, but it's not really dating. But anyway, he said Timbaland was 23 and in love with a 16-year-old Aaliyah. And he points out that Twitter says that was normal for that time. And someone responded to him and said, you can't control your feelings. Timbaland admitted that yes, he was in love with Aaliyah, but did not do anything because, quote, she's just a baby. So he did control his feelings. Timbaland did control his feelings and he didn't do anything to Aaliyah but play big brother. And this person went on to say, but you can control your actions, and R. Kelly knew how young she was and took that as an advantage. He went on to say, I'm not defending Timbaland, but they're different. R. Kelly violated Aaliyah, and Timbaland was Aaliyah's closest friend and was part of her crew with Missy. Somebody else said this Aaliyah, Timbaland, and R. Kelly convo got me looking at y'all profile pics and location so that no child under my care will never, ever come in contact with you. And somebody else said Timbaland really admitted he was in love with Aaliyah, but since she was young, he was just playing, quote unquote, the brother role. Poor Aaliyah around all those creepy men. Somebody else said, y'all still have things to say about Dame Dash, who didn't date Aaliyah until she was older. Same for Jay-Z. And y'all persecuting Timbaland over something he didn't pursue. And if roles were reversed, you wouldn't give Usher a pass, referring to Usher's relationship with Chili. And then somebody else said, imagine having to forever keep a swoop bang because your husband is in love with a person who is deceased. Somebody else said Timbaland was in love with Aaliyah, but he knew he was too old for her. He married his wife because she looked like Aaliyah, swoop and all. And so Timbaland, on March 8th, Timbaland did mention Aaliyah on his Twitter. And he said, this woman believed in me and Missy Sound and knew we were special. There wouldn't be no Timbo the King if it wasn't for my baby girl Aaliyah. By the way, this was my first #1, is what he was saying. So it sounds like what he's saying is that his relationship with Aaliyah was completely appropriate. He didn't take action on his feelings toward Aaliyah. And I think it's important to remember that Aaliyah also propelled his career and Missy's career by allowing them to produce for her when they were unknown producers at the time. Timbaland, Missy Elliott, and Magoo, don't forget about Magoo, they were all unknown at the time that Aaliyah allowed them to produce for her. So she kind of put them on the map. So to me, when I hear him say he was in love with her, I almost feel like it might have been like a type of infatuation because of who she was and what she did for his career. But I think the most important part to take away is that he didn't take action. Even if he married a woman that looked like her, he didn't take action with her, like other men in the industry. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Timbaland revealing that he was in love, quote unquote, in love with Aaliyah, but he felt she was too young, and so he moved on. Leave a comment and let me know what you think. As always, thanks for watching.